July 6, 1967, the first shot of the Nigerian Civil War was fired at Ogoja, present-day Cross River State.
Ogoja.
The 30-month brutal war had begun, and over 3 million people would lose their lives in a needless and bloody war. 3 million people who would have contributed to the growth of the nation. Gowon's supporters argued that Ojukwu caused the war, while Ojukwu's camp pointed fingers at Gowon for the bloodshed. But no one has blamed Oba Erejawa of Benin for his role. So you would ask, how did the Oba of Benin cause the war? The answer to that question will come right up after this. When in March 2016, the Secretary of the Benin Traditional Council, Mr. Frank Irabo, announced that the leopard is ill in the savannah bush. Anyone familiar with Benin traditions knew exactly what had happened to the Omonoba Nedo Ukwakolopolo Irediawa I, the 38th Oba of Benin, who was born on June 22, 1923, and ascended the Benin throne on March 23, 1979. The Oba of Benin is the traditional ruler of the Edo people and head of the historic Eweka dynasty of the Benin Empire. However, before becoming an Oba, Irediawa was an outstanding civil servant. He in fact rose to become the Federal Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, before he retired in 1973. He was then known as Prince Samuel Akenzwa. Akenzwa was part of the Nigerian contingents that traveled all the way to Aburi, Ghana, to attend what is now called the Aburi Meeting or Aburi Accord, where the Nigerian conflict was discussed between January 4th and 5th, 1967. Those who attended the meeting were Lieutenant Colonels Yakubu Gowon and Emeka Ojukwu, Commodore J.E.A. Way, Major Mobolaji Johnson, Alhaji Kam Salem, and many others. The chairman of the Ghana National Liberation Council, Lieutenant General Joseph Arthur Ankara, declared the meeting open in his capacity as the then head of state of Ghana. At Aburi, Gowon and Ojukwu agreed on the following resolutions: that the army would be governed by a Supreme Military Council under a chairman who would be known as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces and head of the federal military government. An establishment of a military headquarters comprising equal representation from the regions and headed by a chief of staff. The creation of area commands corresponding to existing regions and under the charge of area commanders. And that the Supreme Military Council will deal with matters of policy, including appointment and promotion to top executive posts in the armed forces and the police. They also agreed to set up a military committee on which each region will be represented to prepare statistics which will show the present strength of the Nigerian army. As far as the regions were concerned, it was decided that all the powers vested in the Nigerian constitution in them, which they exercised prior to the January 15, 1966 coup d'etat, should be restored to the regions. The decisions at Aburi in terms of political and military control of the country amounted to Nigeria being governed as a confederation. It should be noteworthy that the vocal military officers like Lieutenant Colonel Murtala Mohammed and Major Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma did not attend the Aburi meeting. Back home in Lagos, Prince Akenzwa, along with other top permanent secretaries, reviewed all that was agreed in Aburi. However, Akenzwa discussed with the head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, and raised objections to what was agreed in Aburi. He went further to cite his concerns in a memo dated January 8, 1967. Akenzwa said in the memo that Gowon had given way too much away in Aburi and that it would lead to the destruction of the country. He further added that Gowon had legalized total regionalism, which will make the center very weak. Prince Akenzwa pointed out in his memo that a weak center would lead to a confederation and total disintegration of Nigeria. It was this memo that prompted Gowon to summon a meeting of the secretaries to the military government and other officials, which was held in Benin City between February 16 and 18, 1967. The Benin meeting was a total rejection of what was agreed upon in Aburi. After the meeting, Ojukwu started the "On Aburi I Stand" slogan. Thereafter, the federal government promulgated Decree Number 8 of 1967 on March 10, 1967, which gave total powers to the center. It has been so since, and the ghost of that decree still haunts us today. Many years after the war, Gowon and Ojukwu interpreted what was agreed upon in Aburi in their own way. One of the problems at Aburi was that a portion of the meeting was not recorded. The military excused the civilians like Akenzwa at a certain stage during the meeting, and it was alleged that during this informal chat, Gowon made certain commitments to Ojukwu, especially on full regionalism. As long as Nigeria remains under one federalism, the memo of Prince Akenzwa, who later became Oba Erejawa I, which made Gowon cancel the Aburi agreement and ultimately led to the civil war, will forever be remembered.